Hey real fans, it is Matt from Train Sim Society. Welcome back to the channel. I don't think this is necessarily news anymore, okay? Most of you have probably already know this information, but for me, this is brand new. I have not seen this. I have not read it. I'm a bit late to the party, and that is because I have been super busy, and also my fiance was over the other day, so I just wasn't at my computer. But if you've already read it and want to read through it again with me today, I would greatly appreciate that. MBTA Commuter is one of my highly anticipated routes, honestly, out of everything that was introduced with TSW5. You know, they all interest me, but MBTA was at the top of my list, and the fact that it is coming very soon, they did announce the date. It's going to be arriving on October 29th, which makes me a little sad. I won't be able to play it right away because I'm literally moving out the next day, so my computer is probably going to be all packed up. But for when I get things set up again at the new place, I will be diving into some gameplay and of course exploring this DLC. But oh my gosh, this first screenshot, like I know that they enhanced this and this is definitely edited so that it fits the art style of their promotional images, but I am so excited for this new logo, these new double-decker coaches, and just the route in general. I love Boston Sprinter, and also Brandon did signaling, so even more of a reason to be excited. Dovetail writes, the first add-on for Train Sim World 5 will take players to the east coast of the USA in the culturally rich city of Boston, Massachusetts. Below will cover the locomotives, the route, and the gameplay elements you can look forward to upon release. So the new loco that's coming with this DLC is the MBTA HSP46 diesel loco, which is unique to the MBTA fleet. Having first entered service in 2014, the HSP46 has been increasingly used on services out of South Station, replacing the older F40PH. So a much newer loco. Its large windows and curved nose not only make for a more aerodynamic journey, but an easier one for engineers, with a spacious cab layout that has more in common visually with some of the German locomotives in TSW than the American ones. This includes an interactive digital display which players can zoom in on to interact with easier as part of TSW5's core feature update, which we already knew about. We can already explore that in the other TSW5 routes that are out now that came with the launch of the official game, which I really do appreciate this feature. You know, it is one of the smaller ones, but just being able to click, have that screen go full and in your face so you can navigate everything easier, then just back out of it whenever you're ready. Very big improvement. Gosh, this thing looks gorgeous. And obviously, as you can see with this screenshot, it's going to be combining and mixing in with those old coaches that we received for the Boston Sprinter route, the single level ones. Powering the unit is a GEVO12 power plant that meets the stringent immersions target for use in urban environments, as well as a smoother sound when powering up to depart stations. There is also an automatic stop/start feature which temporarily shuts down the engine after 3 minutes with the throttle in idle and reverser in neutral. The engine restarts when those and several other controls are interacted with. So that's actually going to be implemented in the game, I'm assuming. Safety systems, ATC, and access are both available to use as per other American locomotives, but in game, these are not enabled by default. So it's not gonna be like Long Island Railroad Commuter where they are forced on per licensor requirements, but they are there as an option if you'd like to turn them on. All of this is packaged up in a refreshed livery that was voted for by the public, still displaying the bright purple colors of its commuter rail brand. So audio for the HSP46 was recorded during a dedicated research trip to Boston. You can view photos of the team at work in the October roadmap. You know, I always think about this whenever they do trips because, you know, they announced for Metrolink when they went out there initially, they recorded sounds for the other logo, which we did see on now San Bernardino. When they went out for this trip to Boston, did they happen to capture anything else? Are there any other routes planned or any other MBTA lines that they're thinking about now? Honestly, it seems like MBTA is very easy to work with. Now, this is our second MBTA route. I can only assume assume we're probably going to see more from them in the future in TSW. So we have the MBTA F40PH3C locomotive, which most of us know and love from Boston Sprinter. Dovetail writes, players will also be able to take up the familiar hem of the F40PH3C first seen in NEC, the Northeast Corridor, Boston to Providence. These iconic locomotives seen in other F40PH variants across the United States still work a large proportion of services out of both North and South stations in Boston, including the Framingham to Worcester line. The cab may feel more familiar to players of other American train sim world routes and locomotives, with access and ATC display top right of the engineer's position, along with the throttle, reverser, and braking handle set up similarly to how they are in older freight or switching locomotives. The F40PH's safety systems have been updated for MBTA Commuter. Cool. And also, I talk about signaling again. Brandon, also known as Cactus Juice, very well known in the community, did do the signaling on this, and he did such an amazing job with the signaling on Boston Sprinter and also Long Island Railroad commuter route. So I have no doubts here that that is going to be anything less than amazing. So the MBTA F40PH3C is going to be included in the MBTA Commuter route add-on. Players do not need to own previously released content to access this train. So if you want the MBTA train from Boston Sprinter for this route, you don't need Boston Sprinter. They're going to be including it the same way that they included the F125 for San Bernardino when that was initially in the Antelope Valley line. So now on to the BTC and CTC coaches. We have bi-level and single level. Two different styles of coaches will feature in the consist of trains heading along the Framingham to Worcester line. BTC and CTC bi-level cars are new to the route, representing stock seen across many of the MBTA commuter rail lines. Though visually these may be similar to those seen on San Bernardino line, unlike those, they have the cab car available to operate to facilitate return journeys from Worcester to Framingham back to Boston. God, they look so good. They look so good. Like, look at the weathering on the side of this thing. They did an amazing job. I really feel like Dovetail has been turning a new leaf with US content, because for a while, and for a very long while, the quality was just not there. In my opinion, sounds terrible, scenery, Loco's not bad, but not as good as UK and German stuff, at least in my opinion, but this looks amazing here. The scenery looks great, the graffiti on the walls. Not the best view of the crossing here, but that looks pretty good. I am stoked, beyond stoked, honestly. Like the HSP46, these cab cars also have an interactive digital display screen, and the passenger areas will have operable door controls for use in TSW5's new conductor mode, which, yes, you can do conductor mode with this brand new route. Obviously, it's a standard feature going forward. I would hope they wouldn't just abandon it. Wouldn't be the first time they've abandoned something, but you will have that conductor mode available on this new route from the start. They write, conductor mode will see you play the role of an MBTA conductor, checking passenger tickets, clearing the aisles of baggage, and operating door controls to ensure passengers alight and board safely, which isn't any different from how conductor mode currently works with the other TSW5 launch routes. Modeling on this station, very, very well done. Doesn't look like the cars are floating above the parking lot. Hopefully they're not floating when they're driving on the roads. From the screenshot, stations look decently populated. I know that's currently an issue right now with stations and platforms being empty and devoid of passengers. I hope that we don't run into that problem on this route, but I guess we won't see until we see some early gameplay. Also included are the BTC and CTC single level cars previously seen in Northeast Corridor, Boston to Providence. These will also have conductor mode functionality in MBTA Commuter and have had the safety systems updated to match those found in the HSP46 and bi-level cab cars. Great news to hear. A selection of services will contain mixed sets of single and bi-level coaches, with the majority of trains formed of uniformed sets. You will of course be able to create your own concepts of locomotives and coaches in Formation Designer. It's going to be really cool still seeing sets with those mixed consists though. You know, some single levels, some bi-levels. That is how they operate in real life too. They do right here again, both bi-level and single level stock is included in the MBTA Commuter route add-on. Players do not need to own previously released content to access these cards. So just like with the locos from Boston Sprinter, even the coaches are included in this as well, providing more variety without having to pick up the original DLC. So here is an actual route map for Boston, Framingham to Worcester. There are 18 stations, including Lansdowne for Fenway Park. It's 44 miles long from Boston South Station to Worcester, Massachusetts. There are a decent amount of straight stretches or semi-straight stretches, but there are some tight turns I can see on here, so I'm not sure what the speed limits are for this route, but I'm assuming we're probably going to be between 40 to 70, probably 40 to 80 most of the time. I don't know if MBTA is permitted to go above 80. I know that with safety systems on Boston Sprinter, you're not permitted to go above 80, but maybe it's different here. I don't really know. I don't have too much route knowledge, so if you do, definitely share. Also, you know, I was reading previously over on the forums that freight is also being considered, so I really hope that we will see some freight on this line too. We definitely need another US route, East Coast US, with mixed freight and passenger services. Train Sim World is back in Boston. The Northeast New England city plays host to plenty of commuter and long distance railroad traffic from two large stations, Boston North and Boston South. This route add-on features services running out of Boston South. Look at the detail on the ballast. You know, this is one thing that I complimented heavily with the San Bernardino line, is seeing little pieces of trash, cups and stuff on the side of the rails. And even though it makes the route look a little less appealing maybe to the licensors, it's a little dirtied up, weathered, used, lived in, you know, this is how it looks in real life. This is accurate, and to see that accuracy reflected here in the game is exciting. Cars don't look like they're floating either, so hopefully they fixed that problem here. The skyline looks great. This is definitely very exciting. From here, services head off in a variety of directions, serving wider towns and cities in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, as well as heading over the border to Providence, Rhode Island, along the iconic high-speed Northeast Corridor, which is covered in the previously released Boston to Providence route add-on. Players that own the previous Boston route will be able to use TSW5's new route hopping feature to switch between this and MBTA Commuter at Boston South Station, which does not surprise me at all. You know, this is one of the main core features of TSW5, and these routes connect. It would only make sense that they would do that. Framingham to Worcester services share this route for a small part of the journey, running alongside I-90 through the cosmopolitan Back Bay area to Back Bay Station, before splitting off and heading to the second stop at Lansdowne. It's here where commuter rail baseball fans alight to head to Fenway Park, the USA's oldest baseball stadium, to see the Red Sox do their thing, as they have done there since 1912. It's then all west to Worcester, pronounced Worcester. You know, it's great they included the pronunciation. It really is like one of the worst words in the world, literally, WWW. Saying goodbye to the city centered beyond Boston Landing and heading through a collection of smaller settlements and communities at Natwick, Ashland, Westboro, and Grafton. Roughly halfway along the city of Framingham, where some services terminate before heading back to Boston. For a long time, this settlement was the largest town in the state before becoming a city in 2018. At the western end of the line, the impressive Worcester Union Station greets passengers alighting at the second largest city in Massachusetts. Here, engineers climb out of the cab of their locomotives and head down to the cab car of their train to make the home run back to Boston. A small yard also stables passenger trains while not in use. So I'm wondering if we're gonna have some yard duties and services down there in Worcester as well. So for the next section, timetable, service layers, and gameplay. Oh gosh, I'm so nervous, but I just want to talk about this screenshot. It looks so good. Oh, I'm so excited for this. Literally stoked. I cannot wait for the end of the month. Like the previous previously released Boston to Providence route add-on, MBTA Commuter is set in 2019, so that content from both route add-ons can interact with each other, and I think that's a great idea. Also, it's pre-COVID, so the timetable is going to be hopefully pretty decent. Local hauled services will face out of Boston towards Worcester, with cab cars leading the way for a return journey back to Boston. We'll go into more details on the timetable courtesy of Joe in a future Dovetail Live article prior to release, so stay tuned. So another article is coming. Oh, I just wish we could figure out all this information today, but Joe is working on the timetable, which Joe did a fantastic job with the new updated NEC New York to Trenton timetable, so I can't imagine this will be anything less than amazing. So for scenarios, there are 5, which include an extra revenue service from Boston South to Framingham to pick up fans after a baseball game, starting up a service to take passengers to the Boston Marathon, taking a doubled up revenue service from Boston before splitting the train in the yard, run a reverse set where the loco is facing towards Boston South through a snowstorm, and yard work in Southampton Street Yard. So quite a bit of variety there with the scenarios, not too shabby. There will also be those collectibles to hunt down, standard route maps, warning signs, and posters are out there to find, along with something baseball themed. Ooh, switching it up a little bit. Finding it tricky to get all those locations during your session, you can of course cheat, sort of, by using Train Sim World 5's new fast travel feature to immediately go back to locations where you may have missed a collectible. So for mastery challenges for the MBTA Commuter route, the scenery tile will place a static, non-operable red line train to represent the T trains that also form part of Boston's real-world mass transit network. So release, pricing, and preview stream. TSW5 MBTA Commuter Boston to Framingham Worcester route add-on release on the 29th of October for Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, Epic Games, and Steam for $39.99. That's US dollars. Doesn't really surprise me. I feel like that's just the standard price for new route DLCs. The preview stream is going to be on October 22nd. Okay, that's 11 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern, and 7 a.m. British time over on YouTube and Twitch. Wow, you know, I'm excited. It looks great. Share your thoughts below on what you think of MBTA Commuter. I'm going to be spending the next couple of days digging for information, looking through the forums because I want to learn more. I want to see more. I know we have to wait for the next article, and I'm so curious on the timetable. Really hoping there's a decent amount of freight. I want to see a lot of that going on with this route. I also really hope it's playable. I know that the freight that we have in game, there might not be compatibilities with signals, but I want to be able to play it, you know? That's going to be it for me. Thank you for clicking and watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Take care and happy rail simming, guys.